Have you ever noticed something strange? Your baby can be completely calm while you're standing right beside them. But the moment you walk away, they start crying. You come back, and suddenly they're fine. You walk away again, and the crying starts all over again. So why does your baby care so much about where you are? Is it separation anxiety? Is it fear? Or is something much more interesting happening inside a developing brain? The answer has a lot to do with how babies understand safety, familiarity, and distance. To understand why this happens, you have to look at the world from a baby's perspective. For an adult, walking into another room doesn't usually mean anything. You know that the person hasn't disappeared. You know they're probably just getting something, going to the kitchen or stepping into another room. But a young baby doesn't have the same understanding of distance and absence. Their brain is still learning something adults take completely for granted. A person can leave your sight and still exist. This ability develops gradually, and before that understanding becomes reliable, your disappearance can feel much more significant than it actually is. That's why your baby may watch you closely when you stand up. They may follow you with their eyes. And if you keep walking away, their attention can become more intense. Then comes the cry. Not necessarily because something dangerous has happened, but because the person associated with comfort and safety is suddenly moving farther away. There is also something called object permanence, and it plays an important role in this story. As babies develop, they gradually learn that people and objects continue to exist even when they can no longer see them. But this understanding isn't fully developed from the beginning. For a young baby, seeing you can be strongly connected with feeling safe. When you're right there, your baby can hear your voice, see your face, watch your movements, and respond to your touch. Then you move behind a door, disappear around a corner, or simply walk far enough away that you're no longer visible. From your perspective, almost nothing has changed. From your baby's perspective, a very important source of familiar information has suddenly vanished. And because their brain is still learning how to handle that absence, crying can become a way of bringing you back. This is one reason babies may stop crying surprisingly quickly when you return. Your appearance restores the familiar signal their brain was looking for. The crying wasn't necessarily about the room, the toy, or whatever else was happening around them. Sometimes they simply wanted to know where you were. But there's more going on than simply not seeing you. Babies learn safety through repeated sensory experiences. Your voice has a familiar sound. Your face is familiar. Your smell is familiar. The way you hold them is familiar. Even the rhythm of your movements can become something their nervous system recognizes. Over time, these repeated experiences create a powerful association between you and comfort. That's why your baby may react differently when you leave compared with when another person leaves. The other person may be perfectly safe. They may be loving, familiar, and completely capable of caring for the baby. But you can still represent a different kind of familiarity. Your baby has spent countless hours learning your particular voice, your particular touch, and your particular patterns of interaction. So when you suddenly move away, the change isn't simply that one person has left the room. A whole collection of familiar signals has become less available. And for a developing brain, that can be a surprisingly big change.
And this is where the behavior can easily be misunderstood. When a baby cries after you walk away, it's tempting to think they're afraid, spoiled, or simply demanding attention. But crying is much more complicated than that. Babies don't have the language to say, "I noticed you left, and I would feel better if you came back." Instead, behavior becomes their communication system. A cry can signal hunger, tiredness, discomfort, overstimulation, frustration, or a desire for connection. Sometimes several of these things can happen at the same time. That's why the same baby might react differently on different days. One day, you can walk into another room and they barely notice. Another day, the exact same thing makes them cry immediately. Their internal state matters. If they're tired, hungry, overwhelmed, or already looking for reassurance, your leaving may be the final change that pushes them into crying. So the behavior isn't necessarily saying you are not allowed to leave. It's often closer to, I noticed that something important changed, and I need help understanding what happened.
There is another reason this reaction can become stronger with a familiar caregiver. Babies form attachment through thousands of small interactions. Being picked up when they are uncomfortable, hearing a familiar voice when they are upset, feeling a familiar hand during feeding, changing, or bedtime, seeing the same person return again and again. These experiences teach the developing brain a simple pattern. When I need help, this person often comes back. That pattern is important because attachment isn't just about keeping a baby physically close every second. It's also about gradually learning that the people who care for you can be trusted to return. And interestingly, that means crying when a parent walks away can actually be part of a much bigger developmental process. The baby notices the separation because the relationship matters. They are learning that distance exists, that people can leave, and eventually, that people can come back. With time and repeated experiences, that understanding becomes stronger. The same goodbye that once felt enormous can eventually become something the child can handle with much less distress. So what should you actually pay attention to when this happens? Start with the moment right before the crying begins. Did your baby seem tired? Were they already becoming fussy? Had they been around a lot of noise or activity? Were they hungry or uncomfortable? Or were they completely calm until you started walking away? That difference can tell you something. If your baby consistently becomes upset specifically when you disappear from view, the reaction may be closely connected to separation and the need for reassurance. You don't have to treat every cry like a mystery that needs a complicated solution. Sometimes your baby is simply communicating that they noticed a change, and responding calmly can become part of the learning process. Your baby gets to experience something important. You can leave, and you can also return. Over hundreds of small moments, that pattern becomes familiar. The goal isn't to make your baby stop caring when you walk away. The goal is for them to gradually become confident that distance doesn't mean disappearance, and that separation doesn't mean abandonment.
As your baby grows, something important starts to change. They become better at understanding that people still exist even when they aren't directly visible. They begin to predict that you will come back. They become more comfortable exploring while knowing that a familiar person is nearby. And eventually, walking into another room doesn't have to feel like a major event anymore. But that doesn't mean every child follows the same timeline. Some babies are naturally more sensitive to changes in their environment. Some react strongly to separation, while others barely seem to notice. Temperament, development, tiredness, and the situation around them can all make a difference. So the next time your baby starts crying because you walked away, try looking at the moment differently. Instead of seeing a baby who is simply being difficult, you may be seeing a developing brain trying to understand one of the most important ideas in human relationships. Someone can leave your sight and still come back. And with enough safe, predictable experiences, that lesson becomes easier to understand. If you've ever experienced this with your baby, let me know in the comments. Does your baby start crying the moment you walk away, or do they usually stay calm? And if you enjoy understanding the hidden psychology behind everyday childhood behavior, subscribe for more.